Hi there, Jeff here. Today we're going to be learning about adding fractions with different denominators and how to find the lowest common denominator of two fractions. In our last lesson, we were trying to add two fractions that were not the same size. In this case, it would be 1/3 plus 2/5. What we found is that there are certain fractions that divide into those bigger fractions evenly. In this case, 15ths divide into thirds and fifths evenly. Let's look at an example. Here you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 15ths divide into a third, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 15ths divide into 2/5 evenly. And since 15 divides into thirds and fifths evenly, we can turn thirds and fifths into 15ths and add them up that way. But how do we know which fraction will divide into thirds and fifths evenly? I mean, in this case, I can try out these different sizes and see which one fits. But that's a cumbersome way to solve this problem. And I might not always have fraction pieces handy to figure it out. So we're going to learn how to solve for this without those fraction pieces. Now in this first problem here, we have 2/3 plus 1/4. And what we want to find out is what fraction will divide into them evenly. We call that the lowest common denominator because what we're doing is we're looking at these denominators and we're saying what denominator could they have in common, the lowest common denominator. So to do that, I'm going to identify the multiples of 3 and 4, and I'm going to figure out which multiple do they have in common that is lowest or that I find first. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and find the lowest common multiple of 3 and 4. So you might remember this, finding the lowest common multiple. We're just finding the multiples of 3 and 4. We always start with the lower number, or rather the smaller number. In this case, that would be 3. So let's see here. The next multiple of 3 would be 6. And now I look at these two numbers and I say, which of these two numbers is smaller? And that's the one that I will use next to find the multiples. So in that case, that would be 4. The next multiple of 4 is 8. And again, I look at these two numbers, 8 and 6, and I identify which is smaller, and that one I'm going to find the multiple of next. So the next multiple of 3 would be 9. So 8 and 9, which one's smaller? 8 is. So let's see, the next multiple of 4 would be 12. So what I'm doing here is I'm finding the multiples of each of these numbers, each time starting with the smaller of the two. The smaller of the two here is 9. So that would be the 3's would be next. So 3, 6, 9, 12. And here I have found a common multiple. That would be 12 and 12. That's my lowest common multiple of 3 and 4. So that's going to be my new lowest common multiple of my new lowest common denominator of 2/3 and 1/4. It's going to be 12. So we're going to use that same process to solve for all of these fractions and determine what the lowest common denominator of each of these is. If you have any questions, make sure to check in with your teacher. And after this practice, there will be a video that reviews how to solve each of these so you can double check your answers.